Both the Pittsburgh Steelers and Los Angeles Chargers won 27-20 in their Week 9 matchups. Now they get to face each other in Los Angeles here in Week 10. My name's Tyler here with my brother Ryan. We're going to break down this matchup here and provide our predictions at the very end. So be sure to stay tuned. Leave a comment. Let us know who you think is going to win. And while you're at it, hit that subscribe button. Get notified when new videos come out. And Ryan, I think big wins for both of these squads, especially too for the Steelers. They've been reeling, and not only just like have they been reeling, coming off a couple of losses. The defense has looked horrible the past couple of weeks, and so did a
Yeah.
much better job today. Very opportunistic. T.J. Watt had a really good game. 6 turnovers against the Indianapolis Colts, which is a big win. They're probably the hottest team, I would say, in the NFL going into this week here. And maybe they still are. Maybe it's just a bad week. But one of the ways the Steelers really capitalized was just a bunch of speed on the outside, burning the Indianapolis Colts the Colts tackles. And I bring up that point specifically because the Chargers are going to be out they are going to be without Joe Alt for some time, who had a pretty gnarly ankle injury. Their star left tackle there. So I think that it's hopefully from all reports it's just a high ankle sprain, but Chargers are really going to need him to come back as quickly as possible because there is a big difference between this team with Joe Alt on the field and just a good offensive line versus not. And so as
Yeah.
it stinks too because they just started to get healthy. They're in a heat a heated race for the AFC West division title. And so are the Pittsburgh Steelers. And so, lucky enough for them, the Bengals defense is atrocious. And we'll get to that preview video here for the Bengals coming up. But, Ryan, want to throw it over to you here. What are your thoughts on both the Steelers and the Los Angeles Chargers, especially with their Week 9 victories?
Yeah. So I'll start with the Steelers and then I'll get to the Chargers. But uh, the Steelers are an enigma. Offensively, they don't really produce that much. And defensively, they're one of the lesser defenses in the league. And to kind of back that up, if my stats will load, um, the Steelers are where are they? So I
They're
could
down
be
at the
more
bottom.
prepared. They're 32nd in passing yards allowed. They're 17th in rushing yards allowed. 30th in overall yards, but they're 10th in sacks and 9th in takeaways on the defensive side. And then you go look at the offensive side, and they're 27th in overall yards. Yet they're 5-3, and to top that division. So it's a little bit of an enigma that they can be that low in total yards, yet still on both sides of the ball and still have a positive record. And I think you go look, I think there are two games, my Patriots game, and then you go look at this Colts game where they got outgained in yards. The Colts had more first downs, the Patriots had more first downs. You really just go look at the turnovers and some of the, I don't want to say fluky, because they definitely earned the turnovers, like they were plays made, but teams just really beating themselves and giving this team opportunities to go and win. And I think the Steelers, they're props for them for taking advantage of it. But without that help from those other teams, I think this team really struggles to generate much on either side of the ball. And so I think that coming into this game, I would love to see a little bit more consistency on both sides. I think this rushing defensive performance and their ability to stop Jonathan Taylor and that Colts offensive line is something that I think that they would want to build on. And then also continuing to get after the passer. They had 6 sacks against the Colts. This offensive line is going to be as exposable as I think you will have this year in an NFL game. So I think that's going to be something for them to really try to take advantage of in this matchup. But they do have some good playmakers. DK Metcalf has played well this year. Roman Wilson, the second round pick from a couple years ago. I know he had the fumble late in that Colts game, but he's kind of stepped up and caught a big touchdown a few weeks ago. So I like kind of what they've done there as well. But all in all, I still think that this Steelers team without any help is going to struggle. In the Chargers, it's really been a tale of two seasons, I think, for them. You look at one path where they can probably stay a little bit healthier. You look at when Joe Alt is at left tackle, they're 5-0. And then you go look at the 4 games that he has missed with injury, and they're 1-3. And that offensive line just is really struggling to stay healthy. And without Joe Alt in there, they really have struggled to protect Justin Herbert.
Yeah, yeah, it's I a lot to unpack there. I think for the Steelers, I think one of the things kind of coming into this week's game was just kind of this the shock of, and really it's like more strategic shock of like it felt like they were just giving up inside leverage a bunch, and that's what
Yeah.
that was really allowing this defense to be extremely vulnerable and giving up a bunch of chunk yardages. And so props to them for making the adjustments. I think it helps when TJ Watt and that defensive line is able to get after the quarterback and able to burn the offensive line, and you only had to rush four, to be
Yeah.
completely fair. But still, you made those adjustments. I think offensively, though, I think you bring up a good point because it is it's not like they are really super great offensively, like moving the ball. It's kind of how the Steelers have played these past couple of years, and just under Mike Tomlin is just really strategically kind of working the game. Like you don't need to have the best offense when your defense is really good. But the thing though this year is their defense hasn't really been that good. They've been giving up so many
Yeah.
yards, and this was a good performance. But if you really break this game, if you break this game down, the Colts 6 turnovers though, several of it was self-inflicted. Got to be able to block better. Got to be able to protect the ball more, especially if you're Daniel Jones. But uh, they the Steelers were opportunistic and capitalized on those. But if the Colts cleaned it up a little bit better, I I, I think the Colts win this game again. Whereas I think part of it then is because of just the lack of explosiveness on the Steelers' offensive side of the ball. I think
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers and DK Metcalf are doing their best, but at the same time, though, too, I think there's only so much. I think this is also what happens when you have Arthur Smith as your offensive coordinator. You get a lot of tight end heavy sets. Like you try and like slug your way down the field instead of trying to have like this explosive type offense like how the Colts do, or really honestly then too like how the Chargers do as well. Justin Herbert's been playing really well. You've had the rise of a lot of these guys as well too. If you go look at this box score, I know Rondé Gadsden, he's had another great game today. He's had several great games over these past couple of weeks, but you just got a bunch of weapons that you have to worry about with the Chargers with Gadsden now, McConkey, Quentin Johnson, so got Keenan Allen back as well too. And Trey Harris now is even having a couple catches. I'm missing their tight end. Where's their tight end that they've got? Well, Gadsden's technically their tight end.
Yeah.
But
It's
I
not
know
Will
there's somebody
Disley,
else.
is it?
Is that it? I'm blanking.
I
You know
can't
what?
remember.
I've got the depth chart up right here. No, Gadsden, Tucker Frist, Tyler Conklin, Will Disley has been hurt.
Yeah.
So the rise of Gadsden though has really helped out this team. Now, a lot of it though has been the offensive line has been getting a little bit better, and they haven't really missed a beat at all with Omar and Hampton coming out. Today was a little bit tougher with the way the Titans play. Their rushing yards was more Justin Herbert focused and him scrambling out. But in general, though, this Chargers team is balanced. And I think the biggest thing, though, that's still helping this team defensively is really good. Jim Harbaugh is doing a really good job setting up this team. Ninth overall in total yards allowed, fourth in passing yards allowed, 19th in rushing yards allowed, and
Yeah.
then 14th in sacks with 21 sacks on the season. And so I think they've done a really good job overall. And I think I think Justin Herbert's going to struggle because of Joe Alt being down, just because he's just an absolute stalwart at that left tackle position. So him being gone for a significant amount of time, I think we're going to see that as well too. But the Sunday night game, though, I think what it's going to come down to is it's going to be the Steelers. I think inability to move the ball against this Chargers defense as well. And so the Chargers defense has been playing well for majority of the season here. Let me just want to double check here. 21, 9, 20, 21. 27 of the Commanders, 27 of the Dolphins. He gave up 38 to the Colts, but to be fair, that Colts offense,
Yeah.
especially in a dome, can be amazing. And then 10, then 20. So like they're not really giving up too many points in general, and the Steelers are struggling to score. I think
Yeah.
the Steelers maybe get 21 points here, and I think the Chargers could put up more than that. I think there's a lot of options that the Chargers have the ability to throw to. And just as a comparison, we saw how that defense broke down against the Packers.
Yeah.
And they have a very similar type of setup where they have a lot of options that they could throw to. So I'm going to go with the Chargers here in this one. I have to monitor the injuries overall. I hope Joe Alt stays okay. Would love to see him come back and be healthy
Yeah.
for Chargers playoff push because I'll break down the standings in this one here in a second, but I want to hear your prediction.
Yeah, so I am going to go with Pittsburgh. I just think you look at this pass rush, it reminds me a little bit of the Giants who gave this team a lot of fits. in their matchup there, where they have a really good group of pass rushers. They play very aggressive up front, and that really messed with Justin Herbert without Joe Alt. And so I think from there, this defense is opportunistic, and if they can just get a couple turnovers, I think this offense will be able to take enough advantage to score enough points. And so I'm going to go I'll do 27-20 because that seems to be the hot score here. And I think I think it's going to be a long day for Justin Herbert just because this offensive line, it's going to be tough for them to block this gauntlet of pass rushers that
Yeah.
the Steelers have.
I just think if they take care of the ball, and I would say I'd love to say like it's at home on Sunday night, but it's the
It's a
Chargers at home.
yeah.
There's going to be a bunch of Pittsburgh. It's going to be a home game for Pittsburgh, pretty much. You're going to have to see the silent count by Justin Herbert and this Los Angeles Chargers offensive line here at home. But I digress. But here, like quickly though, the major reports for this game because it's kind of like tale of two conferences. If you're in the NFC, there's a lot of teams. A lot of teams could make a playoff push. Then anything can happen when you get to the playoffs. If you are, if you're in the AFC, the Texans and Ravens are kind of making a comeback a little bit. We'll have to kind of see how the rest of their season breaks down. But the Texans I think they're too far from the Colts. They're 3.5 games back from the Colts. You never know. Ravens are very much within the division, so that's why this game's huge for Pittsburgh. But the Chargers as well too, though. Like they're sitting at 6-3, and their game up, and they do have a tiebreaker against Kansas City. Yet they do play them one more time, I believe. Here, yep, then coming up. So, but it's really you're hot or you're not in the AFC. So winning this game, staying in front, essentially like staying on schedule,
Yeah.
essentially against the teams beneath you are going to be huge. Um, and because really outside of Baltimore, I mean Cincinnati, I don't think it's going to make it. Again, their defense is god awful. So I really think though there's still only 8 teams. I don't think the Texans or the Ravens are going to be able to make this big of a comeback. So it's really 8 teams that are really going to be able to push you there outside of the division races. And so for the Chargers here, they don't want to be that one team looking outside in. Winning this game here, stay in the wild card spot, and then they still have a game against the Denver Broncos to end the season, and they have the tiebreaker already with them. So I think that's going to be huge. And for Pittsburgh as well, you're fighting for a division. There's no way you're going to get the 4 seed compared to the other teams here. Like you just need to keep on winning games and win the division.
Yeah, and actually, like, so the Ravens look like they're waking up. I think they could potentially make a push there. Cincinnati had an opportunity after that Thursday night win, but they've lost two in a row again.
Bad.
So they're down to 3-6. So it's really just Baltimore that I think the Steelers are going to have to fend off, and I think that's going to be important for them to continue to stack up these wins because they still play Baltimore twice.
I believe so. Yeah.
So it's going to be important for them, I think, to get some wins here so they can keep padding that lead that they have. So,
Yep. Week 18 and week 12, it looks like.
Okay.
No,
So,
week 13.
Okay. So yeah, those are going to be some big matchups, but we disagree on this one. Let's go ahead. Let's wrap it up here. If you have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe. That is the best way to help out the channel. While you're down there, leave a comment on who you think is going to come out ahead in this matchup. Will it be the Pittsburgh Steelers? Will it be the Los Angeles Chargers? Other than that, we'll see you guys next time.